right, welcome back. This is going to be an intro to lifting number 2. Hopefully you've done the first series that we had with Heather. And if you're brand new into lifting, it's a great introduction to the lift, but we want to progress some of those exercises, develop them just a little bit. So we're going to take the same concepts from Intro to Lifting 1 and bring them into something a little bit more progressive before you get into the stability exercises that are up also on YouTube. So one of the first things that we want to get into is some mobility. So I think you're going to get into your frog position with your knees out to the side, using the mat as you need. And if you hear some craziness, those are our dogs. So the feet are 90 degrees, right? And she's going to tuck those hips underneath. She's going to walk her hands out in front of her a little bit more. Palms flat on the ground. There we go. And you're going to breathe. You're going to hold it in 2 to 3 seconds. And then you're going to walk it out just 1 or 2 times. And we're going to go through this mobility series just twice to wake up the body and to get the joints loosened up. All right, so you're going to hold again. You're going to squeeze and hold for 2 or 3 breaths. And then you're going to walk it out a little bit further. Good. All right, let's go to the glute exercise. Kneeling position, 1 foot in front, 1 knee in front, and squeezing the cheeks. And the more you squeeze, again, the more you squeeze through here, the bigger the stretch here. It's really common to want to just lean forward into the stretch, but you're not actually relaxing at the hip when you do that. You get more relaxation when you squeeze the opposite ends, right? And again, just 2 to 3 major blocks before you switch sides. You go ahead and switch sides. Good. Notice how she's up tall, shoulders on top of the hips. And after every 2 or 3 breaths, you can inch forward a little bit more, so long as you have that connection of squeezing. And then the next round, we're going to elevate that back foot just to get a little bit more of a stretch through the quad. Everybody's favorite. And we're going to go into a plank position. So guys, in your plank position, you want your shoulders directly on top of those elbows, right? You don't want to be going over the top of them. You want them directly on top, right? You want a little bit of rounding at the upper back versus being concave and sinking into the body. You want to push your belly away from the ground. You want to squeeze those cheeks and lock the legs. All right? And if you feel a little unsteady, just widen those feet just a bit more. All right? Hips are up nice and tall. You're going to hold this for 8 to 10 breaths. And then once you're done, you're going to go right into the frog position. 3, 2, 1, frog. So what I'd like you to do in the frog this time is once you get into that forward position, let's focus on putting those knees out just a little bit further. Instead of going forward, we're going to reset by walking those knees out sideways after every 2 or 3 breaths. Now, if you don't have a pad, you want to protect those knees, absolutely grab some couch pillows, right? And for those of you wondering what these pink marks are, this is KT tape covering the incisions. They're fully healed at this point, but we want to keep them out of direct sunlight. Heather's coming back from calf surgery. All right, she had 4 incisions. About 4 to 5 inches in length on each side. So we don't want to lift too aggressively to come back into it. We just want to wake up the body and get it prepared to lift. All right, and last plank, plank.
I got you, baby.
You got me. There we go. The true brains of the operation right here. Squeezing those cheeks, but again, we're going to elevate. So we're going to pick up that back leg, and we can put it on a ball. If you don't have a ball, you can use the back end of a chair. And if you give yourself 2 to 3 really slow breaths, that's long enough, right? We don't want to restrict blood flow, but we do want to promote mobility and switch sides. Again, if you don't have a ball or a significant other to help, you can use a chair. It's a major difference when that rear foot is elevated. Good. And plank position. Again, I just want to reinforce that a rounded back here, pushing away from the ground. But in this, we also want to pull those elbows down towards the toes, pull the toes up towards the stomach, so you're engaging it and not just pretending to be in the position, but working through the position. All right. And 3, 2, 1. All right, we are done with the beginning mobility exercises, and we're going to get things moving. There we go. We're going to get things moving with the next series, which is going to be a squat, a push-up, and a single leg bridge. Just a little different than what we did last week. So go ahead and grab the dumbbells. You're going to put them at your shoulders. This time around, I'm going to move this down here. This is like tomato. All right. Weights at the shoulders. We're going to do a 2-2 tempo.
Where do you want me? Like this?
Yeah, right there is good. Feet a little bit wider than hips, right? 2-2 tempo, and we're going to focus on the elbows getting to the knees, right? But while you're doing that, you want to make sure your chest stays above your hips as much as you can. We don't want to bow down to get there. You want to keep the chest up tall. Go ahead. We're going to go for 10 to 12 repetitions, smooth and slow without any major pausing. And those elbows don't need to go all the way in front of the kneecaps. They can go literally on top. Now, if you don't have 2 dumbbells, or if this is too light of a weight and you have a heavier kettlebell, you can do what we call a goblet squat. And we're going to look for 10 to 12 repetitions on here. Number, where are we at?
9.
All right. Then when we get into the push-up position, Heather, I'm going to have you on the purple pad. Facing either direction is fine, but I don't want your toes to go in the air. I want you on your knees, but I don't want the toes going in the air.
Okay, what are we doing?
Push-up.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I know.
Wait, but I can't do push-ups.
All right, so go to your knees. There we go. Keeping the toes on the ground, and go as deep as you can without feeling like you're going to crash and burn. Good, that's it. Now in this, depending on your weight management, how much you can go down, right? Come on, keep focused. How much you can go down. Dumbledore. Pardon my dogs. We're going to focus on 8 to 10 repetitions. Just an introduction to the motion. But one of the things we want to keep in line is the shoulders, the hips, and the knees. If I scream at my dogs, well, that's what I'm going to do. On your back, single leg bridge. They see our neighbor's dogs and they freak out. Palms facing the ceiling. We're going to keep this foot flat. And squeeze the cheeks and hips up. Smooth and slow. Again, 8 to 10 reps. We're not trying to lift as heavy as possible, but we are trying to get the most range of motion as possible. So make sure that the small of the back does touch the ground every single time, and that those hips come up in line so that when your hips are up, the knee, the hips, and the shoulders create that straight line. All right, 8 to 10 on one side, 8 to 10 on the next. And then from here, we're going to go back into that squat position. And for you, Heather, the 10 pounds felt pretty easy? Or was it good?
I wouldn't call it easy. I'd call that good.
Okay. Smooth and controlled. And we want those palms to face the ceiling because we want to reinforce good posture. All right, so when our palms are facing the ceiling, it's going to relax the chest a bit, open up the chest, and allow the stomach to breathe versus reinforcing this posture where you can't breathe through your stomach. All right, squat position, weights at the shoulders, a smooth, controlled tempo. Good, elbows to knees, keeping the chest as tall as you can. Now when you do that, notice how the back stays straight. All right. 10 to 12 here is great. Then we're going to go right back into that push-up position. And the idea behind this is to get to a level where you can do 12 reps without any issue at all. In the squat, in the push-up, get to 10 to 12 reps as well for all 3 rounds. In the single leg bridge, most of you doing this are going to have no problem with the bridge. So we're really just focusing on tempo control. Push-up position. The hands are going to be just a little bit wider than the shoulders. Notice how the hips are well in front of the knees and everything's in a straight line and they move together. She's not pivoting off of her hips. She's pivoting off of the knees and through the shoulders. We're not trying to get the nose all the way down to the ground. We're just trying to get the range of motion that makes the most sense for her. And that's what we want for you as well. If you can only go down halfway and get 8 repetitions, that's fine. Go down halfway. Work with pain-free motion. All right, single leg bridge. Again, this is an intro to lifting. Palms facing the ceiling. Good. Now, what's different about the push-up versus the chest press that we did last week is that the chest press, your spine is being supported by the ground in this position as well. Right? But with a push-up, you have a little bit more control. It's actually a moving plank, right? So you have to engage your stomach in a far different way than if you're just doing a chest press. So that puts a lot more weight through the shoulders and you can handle a lot more weight. Actually, that was backwards. You can handle a lot more weight doing a chest press than you can a push-up. I knew that sounded funny as I was saying it out loud. That's all right. My wife's sweet cats are distracting.
They're bright pink.
They are bright pink. Squat position, shoulders. And we want to make this a little bit more of a challenge, but we're not ready for more weight. Let's just add a little bit of a pause at the base. Hold, 2, up, down. Hold, 2, up. Good. So if that's too much for you, don't do it. But I do want you to focus on trying to get those elbows close to those knees. Good. Get that full range of motion. Chin down just a little bit. There we go. So you're not straining through the neck. It's really important when you're doing this squat motion that your chest stays above the hips. All right. Push-up position. Again, this is the last round through. Very common to want to cross your legs, cross your ankles, and keep your toes in the air. But we're not worried about what the hamstrings are doing, so don't do that. Let your toes stay in the ground, let your legs and your hamstrings relax. Let's just focus on the push-up motion. Good. Chin up just a little bit. Good. And notice how when she comes up, there's a little bit of a rounding in that upper back. Right? She's getting that full extension. She's not cutting it short. Right? seen 1,000 times in the gym, right to that single leg bridge, 1,000 times in the gym where athletes are bragging that they can do 100 push-ups in 30 seconds, but they're pulsating like this. You want to get that full range of motion, right? I'd rather see 10 really good push-ups with the appropriate tempo, with the full range of motion, than 30 pulsating. I don't even know what you would call that. Smooth and controlled. 8 to 10 reps on either side is fine. If you can get to 12, absolutely get to 12. And that's going to break it down for this series. And then we're going to move on. So last week we had a few different tempos. And by changing in tempo, we can actually get a few more repetitions and moving a little bit more weight or the same weight for more reps. So we're going to go right into a deadlift. Now, if you don't have a kettlebell, right? If you don't have a kettlebell, you can use 2 dumbbells to keep it at your side. But we're going to face the camera. Slightly off to the side. And we're going to focus right on that kettlebell. We're going to do 12 to 14 repetitions, down slow, up slow, the same motion as your squat. But high, same tempo as your squat. Keep the hips up a little bit higher, chest down lower. Chin down as you're going down. There we go. Try to keep those hips up just a little bit higher. All right. The tendency is to want to drop yourself in a squat position. Do the best you can to keep those hips nice and high. You're going to have a little bit of bend. But we want to wake up through the hamstrings and through the glutes. 12 to 14 repetitions. So for the next series, we're going to present 2 different options for it. Heather's going to use the dumbbells, but she's going to be in a bent over row position, and I'm going to use the band. Right. So we're going to do the same concept. Right. We're going to bend over row position. Elbows are going to come nice and tight. Chest a little bit lower. There we go. Smooth and slow. Right. So there's your bent over row, and relax for me. But if you don't have weights and all you have is a band, what you want to do, I'm going to angle this down just a little bit for right now, is you can make a circle out of that band, right, and put your foot right in the middle. And then you can pull up through here. And what you're doing by creating that circle is shortening the band so you have a little bit more resistance. If I just put my hands through here and put my foot on the band, there's no resistance. So the bigger I make that circle, the shorter I make the bands, the more resistance that I actually have, right? So if you're using a band, feel free to make that loop, right? But if you're using dumbbells like Heather, we're going to shoot for 10 to 12 reps, and the elbows are still coming through right to the ribs. Try to stick the chest out a little bit more for me. Kind of curve around the hand. Other way. There we go. Good. Number, where are we at? 10. All right. Side plank. We're going to hold this for 30 seconds, or really 4 to 5 breaths. We don't need to hold it forever. We're just trying to do an introduction. So in your side plank, the top leg is going to go over the top of the foot. I'm going to move these weights to get them out of the way so the camera can see. You're going to put the heel to the toe, right? Heel to toe. And notice how the shoulder is on top of the shoulder, is on top of the elbow. You could pull that elbow in underneath you just a little bit more. What? Yep, pull it in underneath. There we go. Good. And again, we're just going to hold this for 4 to 5 breaths. All right. And notice how that heel is right in front of the toe. And rotate and switch sides. Good. Squeezing the cheeks will help keep the hips forward, right? So everything stays locked. I don't know if you can see, depending on where you are, but that elbow is coming in front of the shoulder, on top of, right? So next time around, we're going to have to pull it underneath just a little bit more. All right, deadlift with that kettlebell. And we're going to go through those 3 exercises 2 more times. So if you can get to 14 reps, let's get to 14, but you're going to come down slow and up slow. If you can only get to 10, well, great. That's wonderful. Get to 10. But remember to keep the cheeks up high and let the chest come down low. You're not just pushing through the toes. I want those heels to be engaging and staying connected to the ground. The back is going to stay flat. Good. And when you stand up, you're squeezing those cheeks. Number, where are we at?
11.
All right, 12 to 14 is the goal. If you hear some whining, that's our
Hi, Dumbledore.
dumb little dog. I love him. But gosh, is he dumb. Then we're going to go into that bent over row.
He senses mom is in distress.
Yeah. Good. 10 to 12 reps is great here. But I would like the chest to be a little bit lower to the ground. Stick that chest out a little bit more for me, though. There we go. Stand up. Let's reset.
That hurts.
Yeah, let's reset. So what we're going to do, once form starts to break down, right, we start to round at the back, we have to adjust. We want to make sure that that back stays straight. So we're going to put 1 foot in front, 1 foot behind to give that back a little bit of support. We're going to go 8 to 10 on one side and then 8 to 10 on the other. Good. So it's a little bit of a regression.
Thanks.
Well, it's true. It's a regression, right? Chin down. But what's more important is that this back stays flat, right? The weight's not the issue. It's keeping everything else stable. And we want to be able to get to stability. All right. Hips forward for me. There we go. And certainly you can use a chair. Right? You can have a little bit of support with a chair or a doorknob if you're off to the side. And then from here, we're going to go into that side plank. We're just going to make sure that that elbow stays underneath the body. Good. Perfect. Again, for you at home, 4 to 5 breaths through. All right. Front leg is over the top, toes touching the heel. All right. You're squeezing those cheeks so those hips come forward. 4 to 5 breaths is wonderful. And that will last about 30 seconds or so. And let's switch sides. Good. Much better position with that top elbow. Squeezing the cheeks. Locking the legs. Taking your time breathing. We don't want the breathing to last 10 seconds. Right? Take your time. Breathe in slowly and control yourself on the way out. Practice using the stomach. Right? Versus trying to breathe through your chest. Right? You should feel that stomach expand and then push that air out. Let's go right back into that deadlift. Last round through this series, I'm going to do one more series after this. We're adding a little bit of work. Again, for you at home, if you can get 12 to 14 reps, that would be a great goal. If the same weight caused you to go from 12 to 10 to 8 repetitions with good technique, that's fine. Right? We don't want to just bang through 12 to 14 without any issue at all. We want the weight to be a challenge. Right? So either you're getting stronger and you have to lift more weight, or you're getting stronger and you have to do something that's a little bit more progressive in movement. Right? So either we're going to lift heavier, or we're going to change the way that same weight feels by changing how we do it. This is the most stable version of this exercise. And we can progress it by going to one leg, right? One weight. Single arm row, same hand, same knee. Smooth and controlled. 10 to 12 is wonderful. So one of the things that, again, we're trying to do is prepare the body to be able to do more. So if you're just coming off of an injury, or you're just starting with exercise, this is one way of going about it for your muscles and your strength. But for your cardiovascular system, another way is just go out there and walk. Initially, that was a hard thing for Heather about 6 weeks ago, 7 weeks ago. Walking just a mile because of surgery took some time, but now she's going out there walking 3 miles at a clip without any pain, without anything. Pretty soon she's going to be ready to start to run. But one of the other things that she's been doing is riding a bike. And last week was 106 miles.
No, 100.17.
100.17. I apologize. I apologize. All right? But it didn't start out with that. It just started with 15, 20 minutes. And then it started to grow and grow and grow. Now, you don't need to be where you want to be a year from now, 2 years from now, right now. Just recognize where you are right now and take the steps week by week to build to get better. Could be a little tedious at times. Could be a little frustrating at times. Certainly it's not going to be perfect, but that's okay. You don't need perfect. But we do want to make sure you're in a good position, so tuck that elbow underneath you a little bit more.
What?
Yeah, that's what I said.
My plank's done.
All right, so the final series, we're going to add another round. We're going to get on all fours. The knees are going to be on the purple. The hands are going to be on the black. You're going to walk your hands back underneath you a little bit more so your hips are directly on top of the knees. Good, so now you're in that position. Notice where Heather's hands are. They're just directly underneath her shoulders. They're the same width. So now Heather, turn 90 degrees for me. So your hands are on the purple, your knees are on the purple. All right? Same position. So now, notice how the hips are directly on top of the knees. All right? You're going to tuck those feet underneath you. All right? So you're in dorsiflexion. You're going to raise your left hip or your left knee out to the side without bending those elbows. So go ahead and raise it out to the side. And what we're going to focus on here is not the height of the foot, but the height of the knee. All right? And then coming back down. All right? We're not going to hold it at all. But we're going to go for 8 repetitions. All right? Out to the side and up. So one of the things that this is brand new, Heather hasn't done this in a while. All right? The knee wants to come backwards towards me. You have to keep it perpendicular to the body. So almost think, let me raise it up towards my armpit, just slightly. And if you can think about it like that, chances are it's staying perpendicular. You don't want to raise it to your armpit. You want to have it go perpendicular to your body. We're going to go 8 repetitions on one side, and then I'm going to have Heather turn. Hands are going to be on the black. All right? So,
like this.
Yeah. That way folks can see it. So we just switch sides, right? We're going to go to the right, but notice how the elbows stay straight. It's very common that the elbows want to bend here. Right? We don't want the elbows to bend. We just want to use the hip and the glute to move that knee. Right? And it's okay if you have one side that's stronger than the other. Completely okay. It's expected. Right? Just make sure that that knee goes perpendicular to the body.
So good.
Right? You're going to get on your back. You're going to grab some, I wouldn't say lightweight dumbbells, but medium weight dumbbells. All right? And I'm actually going to have you face your feet here. All right? Dumbbells at your shoulders. All right, you're going to rotate backward. Your feet are going to be underneath you. The weight's going to be up towards the ceiling. Good. Slight bend in the elbows. All right? You're going to go out to the side and back up. Once those elbows touch the ground, you're coming back up smooth and slow. The weights do not touch the ground. Right? It's just the elbows that we want to get down towards the ground. We're going to keep that slight bend in the elbows. All right, we've done plank, we've done push-ups, so now we're doing a different plane of motion. All right, we're opening up that chest. All right. There's a lot of ways we can progress this, but for right now, first time doing this, spine supported, different plane of motion, controlled tempo, weight that is manageable. 10 to 12 reps is great. And then from here, we're going to go back to turning your body. We're going to do a V-up crunch. Now, for those of you at home that aren't ready for a V-up, a regular crunch is okay. So first we'll show the regular crunch. Fingertips are at the ears, feet are flat, knees are bent. Just a regular crunch or two, smooth and controlled. There's your crunch. For those of you who are ready for it, because maybe you are coming back from something and this isn't an area that regressed at all, we're going to do the V-up. We're going to go for 10 V-ups. 8 to 10. Go ahead.
Oh, God. Sorry, Internet.
Good. All right. So those legs are coming in. Those feet are bending, or the knees are bending, rather. We're going to try to focus on control. All right. Not throwing the arms or throwing the weight. Good. Smooth and controlled. Number, where are we at?
8.
All right, 8 to 10 is the goal. And then we're going to go right back into the fire hydrant. Now, it's very clear, while we call that exercise the fire hydrant, for those of you who don't have dogs, you're just raising your knee out to the side like a dog would to a fire hydrant. That's all.
Our dogs are so much better at it than I am.
Yeah, they got that hip mobility. Here we go. Good. Raise the knee, not the foot. Smooth. There we go. Good. 8 repetitions, smooth and controlled. Notice how that weight really isn't shifting from side to side. All right. She's controlling her weight, keeping it even and square on the knee and the 2 palms. Not letting that elbow bend. A very often overlooked aspect of strength comes from right here. Oftentimes folks have ankle issues or knee issues, and those are symptoms of something. And oftentimes it's a symptom of weak hips, right? The knee's collapsing. It's because it's pivoting off the hip, and the hip is not strong enough, the glutes are not strong enough to keep your body in line, not stable enough. So we want to work not just in the forward motion with squatting and the hinging, we want to work side to side with the fire hydrants, and there's different versions of that to help develop. So we're going to go for 8 to 10 repetitions of the chest fly, and then in the V-up, I'm going to have Heather, instead of having her arms go above her head, I'm going to have her keep her hands crossed at her shoulders. And that is actually a progression of the exercise.
I didn't regress in everything.
There we go. So keeping the hands attached to the shoulders, crossed, is
And
fine.
so I can't do this.
And we're going to give this a shot. There we go. All right. So what we're doing here is we're changing the weight distribution. It's like the seesaw. There we go. 3. All right. We're asking the body to demonstrate more control as well as more coordination. Good. Eight to 10 is wonderful. And again, for those of you at home not ready for this, you can stick with the hands going above the head just a little bit. You just don't want to throw them, right?
Oh, I failed at 9.
That's all right. That's good. And then if that's still not appropriate, we can go into the crunch, just the regular crunch. All right. Last series, fire hydrant, chest fly, and then the V-up. Smooth and controlled, not letting those elbows twist. Wearing my Rambling Runner Matt Shittum shirt today. It's a nice soft shirt, but Heather's got our McCurdy Train shirt. You can find these on the shop page if you would like to get a great McCurdy Train shirt. We have a few items on the web store available. A little plug for some of our stuff. Smooth and controlled. There, good. All right, chest fly. Good. Anytime you do something new, lifting weights, running, biking, it's going to be a challenge at first. You didn't learn how to walk the very first time you tried. You stumbled, you fell, and you got up and you figured it out. Your brain was able to figure out how to send those signals to your muscles, and you got it done. Same thing with lifting. Right? And it's okay to be a little sore. Don't confuse soreness with an injury or pain. Those are two different things. But soreness from something new is okay. It should be expected. You're challenging your muscles in a different way. Right? Heather rode a bike over 100 miles last week, but she did not move her knee out to the side for 8 repetitions, times 3 sets. I'm expecting her to feel a little bit of soreness right here, a little bit of cramping. Right? That's okay. Right? The first time you do something, maybe even the second or third, it's okay to feel a little lethargic, a little tired, a little fatigued. Just want to make sure you're eating well, make sure you're hydrating, make sure you're sleeping. All the really important aspects of training, not just the exercise.
Oh, jeez.
There it is. There it is. Now keep your hands out to straight towards your knees. There we go. And give that a shot. A little less, right? We just changed where the weight was on that seesaw. Right? By keeping those arms straight by her knees, the weight is no longer top heavy towards her head. Awesome. Done. Guys, thank you so much for spending your time with us. We appreciate it. No, there goes the screen. Yeah. We appreciate it. We hope you guys enjoyed the lift, enjoyed the time with us, and we're going to do 1 or 2 more of these videos, and then we're going to get into that Stability 1 that you'll see on our YouTube that's on there. So we have Stability 1 and Stacked 1, Stability 2, Stacked 2. So we're going to do a few more intro to lifts, and then you'll be ready for that first stability exercise. So thanks a lot. Thanks for spending your time with us, and yeah, stay safe out there.